Keep an eye on Herminius.
You know what they say the definition of a hero is? Somebody who gets everyone else killed. One of my favorite Firefly lines of all time.
Solid. All right. Hello and welcome to the Legends of Tabletop podcast. We're getting ready to jump into the third part of our beloved Bronwin epic saga of Cthulhu Invictus. In our last session, they spent a little bit of investigators spent a little bit of time still around Aqua Soleus. They ate out, they hung out, they went to the baths, but they talked to the gardener Pasco. He was in a relationship with Bronwin. He actually proposed marriage and she turned him down. We rubbed it in a little bit. It wasn't really intentional, but kind of made him feel bad about it. But
you were like, aren't you embarrassed? And he's like, yeah, I guess.
We determined that Bronwin had fled or went to the north, up around Deva, or actually past Deva, I guess, up more around Mamusium?
Yeah, let's go with that.
All right, that sounds good.
Mamusium, I guess.
Yeah. So
none of us speak Latin.
No.
Right, Latin hasn't been spoken in like 1,500 years. I think we'll cut you a check.
Well, unless you're a cultist. I mean, maybe there's probably people, He's Invictus after all.
Or a priest or a scholar.
Right.
True.
So I have no excuses. Anywho, so we piled on a ship and took that up to Deva, and then down south to Veraconium to speak with, I was going to say Regina, Doreena's weapons smith. We stocked up on some silvered weapons, traded in a pretty useless spear. Like, I mean, it's okay, but like, whatever. Not Macrion. No, I'm Macrion. Jesus. Malachi wound up running into someone at the bar who pretty much gave us a lot of information. So I'm going to flip my pages around here. A bunch of people had seen the boar, which, was killed by the other hunter, and then he went insane because it was actually a person. It hadn't hurt anyone. No one had been able to kill it. It was just kind of hanging around in the forest. Malachi found out that the forest was a sacred place. Oh, and by the way, this person happened to just like know who Malachi was and just like started to talk to him. That's kind of weird, but whatever. The boar was there. There's a sleeping god. It was supposedly entombed or held there, with some magics or whatever. The boar's territory was there. I think there was some information that maybe there were some other were creatures there. Maybe that was speculation on our part. There is a tanner that lives just outside of the woods. We were going to go and talk to them to see what information that they might have. But the woman that Malachi spoke to said that the tomb was there. It was marked with a great seal. And she said to seek out the tanners. So that's kind of where we're at.
Seek out the tanners.
I'm passing the buck.
All right. Well, whatever you guys want to do from here is up to you. We can say after all of that discussion, you turn in for the day. And next morning, you're ready to head north to the city of Mamusium. And the woods you're looking for are just north of that city.
Oh, and we have Daisy too, along with another cart.
They bought it. Was it a pony or a mule, a donkey?
I think we got another donkey because it was cheaper.
Yeah.
Okay.
Someone accused us of being cheap. I don't know.
Not I.
All right, so next morning you head off in your little donkey, your cart, and head up the road. You get back to Diva. We're gonna say you spend a day there just to give the animal a rest, and you'd probably pull in there before about sunset. And unless you guys want to do anything, you just find a rooming house or an inn, a traveler's inn, and get dinner. Maybe hit the bathhouse, grab dinner, and you're ready to go out the next dawn.
I think Macrion would probably hit the gymnasium there too. Practice
Make a luck check.
Oh, all right. Rolling dice.
Yeah, dice would be good.
84 out of that's what's my luck? Nope, luck's only 67.
All right, they do have a trainer, but they are not in today. So you do have exercise equipment, but it's not, you don't have anyone to spot you or wrestle with you or box with you. So
Malachi,
both like some free weights.
Yeah, would you be interested in perhaps squaring off for a little bit?
You want me to kick your ass? Yeah, I'll do it.
Oh, well,
No,
sure.
I don't mean it quite that.
What's both of your brawl?
I think we're both. Well, I'm at 51.
I'm at 89.
Yeah.
Okay,
but I wrestled a cat she.
both of you roll that.
All right. 49. I passed.
Oh fuck!
Is that a hard success? Is that a hard pass or that's a regular success?
No, it's 49 under 51.
Okay. Malachi?
I rolled a 93.
Okay.
Oh!
So Malachi, you're really good at like bare knuckle street fighting, but when it comes to classic Greco wrestling, he actually pins you, and you realize, oh, there's a whole fighting style. It's not, you're not doing MMA. He asks you to wrestle, So you get both a good workout, and Malachi, you kind of learned a few things about groundwork.
Okay.
But he does surprise you as being a bit scrappy when it comes to wrestling.
All right, so we can stay low and keep a wide stance. You can get under, like he's kind of like rocking back and forth.
Right. Okay, so you get a workout, grab your bath, and a meal and a quick breakfast before you head out, and you end up in the city of Mammoseum. Before nightfall the next day. So again, is there anything you guys wish to do here? We can definitely do that. If not, we can just gloss over. Say you find a rooming house, grab a bath, get some dinner, fall asleep, wake up, and head north into the forest. Or you can, there's plenty to do here if you want.
I may want to go. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say I might want to go to a local bar and see if anyone has been talking about anything recently. If anyone's noticed anything, or just kind of hear what's going on.
All right, I'm going to say just roll a charm to kind of be friendly, personable, and be welcomed into conversation.
Okay, I don't got much of that, so nope.
Yeah, you're kind of a rough-looking customer, and nobody really feels comfortable. But no, you don't find anything, too terribly much. Nobody's really talking about the boar or the hunter who came through, and that's all. It's been quite a while since you started this, so many days have passed.
Good.
And there's new gossip.
Do I hear the new gossip?
Make a luck check.
Come on, I'll take whatever I can get at
I'm
this
assuming
point.
I'm in the same bar too. I can.
Okay, we can roll your charm and see what you guys can
Oh,
find.
this one I get a 10 in. Nice. I don't even have to check it. Yeah. I'm lucky.
there is a 2-person troupe of actors that they passed through a few days ago, and they've been in the area performing for small villages and larger farms for food and drink. Apparently, they're a Greek woman and a Celtic guy. He plays harp and tells stories, and she pantomimes all of the parts using different masks.
Oh, okay.
Everyone's been very entertained, and they're hoping they come back, but they traveled north.
Okay.
They've been apparently doing a circuit. I think people are just calling them the players.
The players, okay.
Other than that, there's not a lot going on. It's really should have did a little bit more research on the town to give you some local color, but I didn't. So, give me a second. You can edit this out, right?
Yep.
All right. Thanks to the internet, which is not just for porn anymore.
Isn't it though?
For porn.
For porn.
The internet's for porn. Grab your dick and double click for
All right,
porn.
we're definitely going to need to edit that out, Regina. Thank you.
Sorry.
If for nothing else but for the copyright. That's
Yeah, that's fine. Copyright problem.
It's a fort. Okay, it's a military fort town.
Oh.
There's a cohort of Roman auxiliaries stationed here.
Okay.
So the bar you're in is kind of a soldier's bar.
Nice.
So the players came through and did a selection of really bawdy, kind of hyper sexualized plays that are quite popular in Rome. So a lot of the soldiers are hoping that they do come back, and they tip them heavily. So yeah, it's a lot of the Roman soldiers here are native Britons, and there are a few people from Gaul, from Belgica, and even a few German troops, and maybe a third of them are actually from Syria and Asia Minor.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
So it's kind of a keep the peace on the northern road, on the northwestern highway that leads up the coast to the Antonine Wall, and then beyond that the Severan Wall. So now you're getting into the north where it's a lot less Romanized than you're used to. There are more and more Celtic faces to Roman and non-Roman. So pretty much all the non-Celts you're seeing here are almost soldiers or new settlers and business owners.
Okay.
Oscar, what's the appropriate role? I kind of am just, as I like to do, sort of sitting back in the background a little bit, just looking at everybody and sort of chiming in or listening in as much as I can, but sort of insight, spot hidden. I don't know exactly what.
Nobody really seems a threat. Nobody really seems to be taking notice of you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't pick up any rumors. Like, I guess the players moving through the area were the only interesting thing that's happened here for a while.
Okay.
You don't hear about the whole boar thing because nothing has really happened. That's like weeks ago.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Um,
How long ago did the players come through?
The players came through about 3 days ago, but they were slowly moving north, performing at all of the large farming estates outside of the city, and like any settlement with more than a dozen people, they'd stop and perform for coins. You do pick up one other thing, that they actually are traveling in a covered wagon, a brightly colored wagon.
And they're generally heading in the same direction that we're going to be heading in.
Yep. Coincidentally.
Pure
Is it?
I wonder if we're gonna find a new wagon.
Daisy 3.
They will all be named Daisy. That's it.
And Oscar, just to clarify,
Are we maybe going to create a daisy chain?
Oh, God.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
is the woman was a Celt? Is that what you said?
No, the woman was Roman. She was,
She was Roman.
not Roman, but provincial Roman. But provincial Roman nowhere near here. Some people are saying she had darker skin, maybe Phoenician, maybe Egyptian, definitely some part of Greek.
Okay.
And if you know Egypt and Phoenicia, they're all Greek. I mean, those are all really big Greek,
It's all Greek to me.
But yeah, none of the soldiers really know where she was from. Definitely not Britain.
Okay. Just in case that turns out to be useful information to have later.
What did you roll, Malachi? Did you roll a hard success?
I didn't actually roll. I wasn't sure what to roll.
Okay, make a charm, and just kind of.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not trying to really charm anyone. I'm trying to more sort of be background, fly on the wall kind of a thing.
If
But I will roll my
you
charm.
join a dice game,
Okay.
I will give you a bonus dice.
All right.
But I will also then make you do a luck check to see if you lose money.
Okay. Well, it just so happens that I like the dice. Is there a gambling?
We'll figure it out.
Okay.
We'll do opposed luck
I'm
rolls.
going to roll some dice then. How about that?
Okay.
See what
So
happens.
let's do your charm first.
Okay. So my charm is. Oh, I actually have charm. I have I rolled a 38 and I have a 40 for charm. So
Nice.
Okay. Now, are you going to
How does that
intentionally lose at dice?
Wait.
Or are you going to try and play a fair game?
Oh. I'm going to play a fair game. but-
Okay, so only one bonus dice.
Okay.
If you were losing, they would have liked you even more. Okay, so
luck with a bonus.
so what was your first roll?
For charm was a 38 out of 40. I haven't rolled.
Okay, roll another 10 for the bonus dice that you're gambling with them.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. 3 or 30 or whatever.
So same thing. 30. All right. You find out two other things. One guy says that they were patrolling the base of the woods outside, just north of town, and they came upon a group of people burying one of their dead. And it was a husband and wife and a younger woman who was maybe their older child, maybe the wife's younger sister. They weren't sure. They were definitely a family, and they had dug 2 graves. And when they said what had happened, they just said that they were set upon by beasts. Which didn't seem odd because they seemed to be in the hunter trapper trade. They were wielding bows and wearing hunting leathers. Even the women, but you know how the women in the north are.
Yeah.
And they said their accent put them somewhere north of Hadrian's Wall, probably of the Selganavi tribe. So they're not from anywhere near here.
Why were they coming down here with their bodies then?
Do you ask him that?
Yeah, I'll say, do you have any idea why they would come down this far then?
We didn't question them. There didn't seem to be any crime committed. We just stopped them because see some people burying a body, maybe you have a couple of questions.
Yeah,
But we did get a look at the bodies, and did look like they were attacked by wild beasts, and there was a very strong family resemblance to the man. And we really, no one's. We're policing the area for to keep the roads safe, and they didn't appear to be bandits, so they wouldn't really appear to be a threat.
Could they possibly have been tanners, by the way? Did you get a sense of that?
No, they were hunters.
They were hunters. Coming down here to bury their dead.
Oh, I don't think they traveled here to bury their dead. They were just burying him in a simple plot and gathering up some stones to make a cairn. It seems that he died while they were down here.
Oh, okay.
But it wasn't any kind of grand funeral procession, if that's what you're thinking.
Oh, so they came down here and one or two of them died. Two of them died, I suppose.
He's like, why the interest? Are you looking for them? Kin to them? Do you have something to add?
I am trying to go find some tanners up near the woods north of here. I'm glad to hear.
Yeah, we've heard tell of them. They keep to themselves.
But they seem like good people.
Well, we've never had a problem with them. They'll come in down 2-3 times a year and sell their wares. You only catch our notice if you're a problem. We forget they're there most of the time, which is a good thing.
Did you have anything, any run-ins with any of the beast reports that were north of here in the woods?
He goes, no, we don't patrol in the woods. He says it's all tavern tales and mothers talk to keep their children in bed at night. It's, stories of hobgoblins. There's always something.
Absolutely.
I don't doubt that there could be something odd in the woods, but we're not going into it. It's not on the road. It's, road goes past it, not through it.
That's probably a sensible thing. Yeah, hobgoblins make for funny stories. Sometimes those stories have a reason to be told, though. But
and then one guy who's got like a scarred face says, hobgoblins aren't funny. Why? It was 5 years ago tonight. And then half the soldiers lean in, and half the soldiers have heard the story before, and they're like, oh, and they, wander off. And he goes into this long tale about snake men that live underground, like murderous snake men that wield magic.
Where were these murderous snake men?
Do you pump him for? Because if you buy him a couple of drinks and ask him questions, he will talk for 4 hours.
I will listen for 4 hours. Part of my job.
All right. At this point, I want you to add 1% of Cthulhu to your Cthulhu Mythos score.
Excellent.
Nice.
As he is actually a survivor of run-ins with degenerate serpent men of Britannia.
Awesome.
But you are up half the night.
Poor Macrion missing the story.
I know, right? Fuck, I'm just like reading a book somewhere.
You could have written a book about this guy's account.
Macrion, what is your Cthulhu Mythos?
13, I think. 13.
I'm up on you.
All right, so that ends the evening unless you want to get into any other trouble. Oh, roll your luck.
Oh, Christ. Okay, here we go.
You were dicing.
I was dicing. And okay, I made it. 49 out of what's my luck? Yeah, I'm good.
So standard success, not a hard success?
Not a hard success.
You lose as many hands as you win, and you walk away without losing anything.
That's good. But coming away with knowledge. So
Right. All right. So it is the next morning. The woods are.
Wait. Oh, but I meant that. Yeah. So that lizardman thing, that was a while ago, right? Obviously.
Oh, he goes. Yeah, I was.
Yeah, okay.
I was a much younger man when that happened.
Yeah,
And
we're just not.
I would have never followed
them.
them into their lair had I known what I know now. And then one of the guys says, these lizards, these snake people get bigger every time you tell the story. Syrian. He's like, piss off,
All right, smart people, what should we do?
So tracking, I guess, looking for prints on the ground, see if there's any disturbances.
You're still in town.
Yeah, when we go to the forest. Sorry.
Okay. So you head. What?
Well, so we need to speak with the Tanners. Yes, I mean that the woman that Malachi spoke with seemed to indicate that they may hold some key to this, or some font of information that we can glean what we may be up against.
And before that, though, there is this family of hunters that had a couple of their family members killed. Maybe we should try to find them if we can.
I wonder if they are. Doreena, do you believe that perhaps they are members of your hunters guild, your group?
They're far and few between, but they could possibly be.
I don't recall the name of the tribe, but they were of this tribe that was from well north of Hadrian's Wall.
Any chance that I would have known them, Musk?
No, you don't usually get that far north.
Okay.
That whole area was Pictish territory less than a generation ago. So we're really talking the savage north.
Oh, okay.
Not as far savage north as on the other side of the Severan Wall, which is Caledonia.
Okay.
But this is the strip of land that was taken from the Picts during the last reign. But yeah, those are some rough folk. All right, so what's the plan?
I believe we need to find the Tanners. Perhaps we can ask in town. They live on the north side of the.
They say that you easily find out that there's only one path that branches. It's right before the river crossing bridge, and they said they come in with there's like a slight path, not quite a road, better than a trail, that branches off the road and into the woods. It's the only trail through the woods. Hunters don't usually hunt here, so there aren't any hunting trails. And if you follow that, you should be able to reach the Tanners. They live deep in the woods.
Yes.
And they said they do. Although they're quite pleasant, I suppose, they're very abrupt. They're very brusque. And no one usually visits them. So, I hope you're not easily offended.
No, of course not.
Okay, so is that what you do? Do you head along the road looking for this path?
I think so. I mean, that's the way to more information.
All right, Doreena, roll your tracking.
Okay. 83 out of 70.
Okay. You miss you get pretty much to the northern end of the forest, and you reach the bridge crossing, but you did not find the trail, so you realize that you've missed it. But just on the other side of the bridge, pulled off to the side of the road, you see a brightly colored ox-drawn cart with lots of streamers and colored veils set up almost like a tarp to make a shaded area, and a rough camp has been formed.
Well, we know who that is. I rolled a 22 out of 27 on tracking, if that's worth anything. What the hell did I do with my pencil?
Okay, so when you backtrack, you can find the path, Malachi. But because you weren't backing her up when she failed it, you were like, I thought I noticed something, but since you didn't say anything, I figured, you're our tracker. So what do you guys wish to do?
I guess I'm going to go investigate the bivouac, the makeshift camp for our thespians. Do some spot hiddens.
No need to. They're not really hiding, so you don't need to make a spot hidden. You can just kind of walk up. It's a nice camp. They have some good gear. Like they've got a grate over their fire, and they've piled up stones around it. So they've got a nice fire, and they've got a few rabbits cooking over it. A nice cast iron pot where the woman has set up some biscuits to make. So they're making they've started on their evening meal. And you see a very well-dressed native man. I mean very well-dressed, almost dressed like a noble, like a court noble of a Celtic court. The whole 9 yards. He's got the silver torque, and he's got, an ear cuff and high boots, very well dressed, very good looking guy, actually. And probably equally, if not better looking woman. And again, she does have those dark skinned Greek features with thick, dark hair. And she is dressed absolutely outlandishly. She's in like a full a full 3-layered tunica dress with the shawl, heavily painted up. And it's funny because you guys are on the side of a road in North Britain, miles, just leaving one major city, miles from the next city, and she's done up in cosmetics as if she was about to walk on stage. And as you approach, they greet you. This is greeting, traveler.
Greetings.
Can we help you with something, sir?
We are travelers ourselves heading north. We think we've heard stories of you two thespians entertaining people along the way.
They call us the players. I am Jago, and this beautiful woman is Philomena. We're glad that our reputation seems to precede us. Will you and your companions sit? Perhaps you'd like to engage us in a small performance before dinner.
I look around to my colleagues who I should be following anyway.
Macrion just shrugs, like he's not necessarily opposed to it, but like we do have stuff to do. He's just going,
Herminius?
We have been traveling for quite a little bit. Perhaps a rest off our feet would do us some good.
Fine. That's quite fine. They kind of take the biscuits off of the fire since they're going to be detained for a bit. and they say, please make yourselves comfortable, have a rest, and we'll pick a play based on just what we know about you, which is nothing other than what you're wearing. And they look over and they kind of try and get a feel for their audience. And they actually, she goes into the cart and pulls out comes back with a satchel of masks. And in it, you see like various masks. And they do the story, a story that none of you except Doreena has ever heard before. It's a traditional Celtic tale called Etain and O'Cade, about a man, his wife, and a fairy lord. It's kind of a love triangle, a tragic love triangle story. And as they tell the story, the woman pantomimes all of the roles. Like he's playing and orating the story in a very traditional Celtic fashion. And he apologizes. He says, I'm going to keep it in Latin to, so everyone can understand what I'm saying. It would be much more beautiful in Brythonic. And she is, a very talented actress and puts on a really great performance. Long and short of the story is Prince falls in love with a beautiful maiden while she's bathing, marries her. They're quite happy. Guy shows up. He's a fairy lord, traveling, lost, coming into the rain. They invite him to stay for 3 days because after 3 days, a guest becomes a burden. During the 3 days, he tries to seduce the wife who doesn't want anything to do with him. And finally, he tells her, you're not really human. You are my lover. From Tirnanog, my wife found out and she cursed you. She turned you into a butterfly and commanded the winds blow you from the fairy realm. You landed in the cup of a queen. She drank you, and then you were born as her human daughter. But it is a slight curse, and I can undo it. I've been looking for you these 20 years. Woman says, I have no idea who you are. You're mad. I love my husband. Leave me alone. He gets into gambling and card playing with the husband, and he loses quite badly for 2 nights in a row. And on the third night, he wins quite a lot, and the host is now owing the fairy lord a favor. He says, allow me to kiss your wife's hand, and we'll call it even. She says, don't do it. Husband says, I have to. He's bested me, although I feel I've been cheated, and by morning I want you gone, good sir. He kisses the wife. She turns back into a fairy. They flee to the fairy realm. The husband is devastated. He calls up his army. He attacks the fairy mound, wrecking it, trying to just batter it down with his army. And every morning when they wake up, the fairy mound is completely repaired. This goes on for a week. Everybody's tired. Everybody's aggravated, including the fairy lord's men who have to repair all the damage the humans do every night. And they're like, look, this needs to stop. We can't do this. The humans will never give up. You need to resolve this. So the king meets, the 2 kings meet, the fairy king and the fairy and the human king meet. And they say, look, she was never yours to begin with. She was always mine. She only forgot that. He goes, you stole her from me. I cannot accept this. This is some magic you've placed upon her. She would have, she begged me not to let you touch her, and I was a fool to let you. And he says, look, let's just settle this. Let her choose. He says, I can't trust anything you do because you could have her enchanted. He says, well, if you really love her that much, then you'd know her from 100 women. I'll put her in a group of 100 women. If you could pick her out, you can have her back. Guy looks at his army. They're exhausted. They're about to just turn on him. He says he knows he's losing the support of his men. He says, fine. Fairy Lord shows up with 100 absolutely identical women. They all look exactly like his wife. He's been tricked again. So he walks among them looking for some trace of who his real wife is. And knowing he's beaten, he starts to weep in sadness. His wife, who now remembers her whole life as a fairy queen, as a fairy mistress, sees this human man that she had loved in her time crying. And she just takes one deep breath in and lets one slow sigh out. And he turns to the woman who sighed and says, "That's my wife." And all of the other glamour women vanish. She turns back into a human. The fairy queen looks at her, betrayed, and she just shakes her head and goes to her husband. The fairy queen leaves. The fairy king leaves, and that is the end of the tale. They live happily ever after. So they pantomime this out with music and, her costume changes. She puts on different pieces throughout the performance. And by the time they're done, the moon has risen. The stars are out. You've lost all track of time. You've been completely enchanted. And so ends their tale.
Could I? Well, so if we're technically enchanted, then maybe not. But I was thinking as we sort of went into it, could I make an occult roll? Like, is there anything in the tale that sort of speaks to Shadow War stuff? Are there any signs, sigils on the cart?
Having met and dealt with fairies, you find the story to be quite true.
Yeah.
To their nature, and you can honestly believe that at some point this might have actually happened.
Sure.
It definitely fits what you've dealt with, the betrayal and the deceit of the fairies.
Right.
Okay. With Herminius's history and study and past of sorcerers and sorcery and the such, and clearly these people are extraordinary. Does he get a sense of any type of sorcery or mysticism in their actions that we perhaps should be?
No, they seem. Okay. There's no like detect magic roll,
right? Yeah,
there's. They're quite,
but just in terms, perhaps in some of the dance forms to
no, these are all very traditional. Like these are all very traditional. What's odd is that they're mixing two very traditional things. He's like a traditional Celtic performer, and she is more of a Greek Roman pantomime artist.
Brings him back home.
So they have a very nice, fusion art form going that seems to work quite well for them. And they put out the pot for tips. And they say, although we have very little, we are willing to share what you have. If you are willing to share what you have, we have wine and would invite you to camp with us. It is safer in groups than on your own.
Yes, it seems the day has gotten away from us.
He says, a good tale will do that. A good tale, and the woman takes off her mask, and she says, and a pretty face will do that.
Yeah, indeed.
And they immediately start drinking.
Oh, excellent. Right. While it was going on, I, kind of am sitting back.
Well, do you tip them before? Sorry, Malachi, to cut you off.
Yeah, I would. I don't know what would be appropriate, like tip-wise for the time, but yeah, definitely.
I would definitely tip a little extra just because it's like a nod to something I understand.
Okay.
So I appreciate it.
So then they're way more friendly to you because you paid them for the performance. Malachi, your question?
I, just sitting back, checking out what's going on, looking at their camp, watching them. I rolled an 06 for spot hidden. And I want to just also do an insight on them, kind of just to get a sense of what they're about. Roll a 13 for insight.
Okay. So 13 on the insight roll. And did you roll a spot hidden?
Yes. 06
What did you roll on that?
06 on spot hidden.
You are a very suspicious person, Malachi.
That's my job. That's actually what I'm supposed to be doing more of, and I haven't been doing enough of it. So
You actually noticed two very odd things about them. The first is that you're really good at spotting people's hidden weapons. And in Rome, even though it's illegal, everybody at least carries a knife. These two are traveling, making money, a beautiful woman with him, going from town to town to town, and they're both unarmed.
oh shit.
You don't see a bow or a sword or a spear. You don't even see a knife tucked away under their clothing. And as for insight, they're trying to keep you here. And that might be more than just performers trying to earn a few coins. They gave a level of performance that would have been suitable for like a royal court, just for the four of you sitting on, stumps and rocks around a campfire in northern Britain.
Mm-hmm.
So they held nothing back with their performance. They obviously wanted to keep you entertained. And as they are starting to pass around a jug of very good wine, and asking if you have anything to contribute to dinner, they'll throw it in the pot and cook it up and make a communal meal. You realize that they may be trying to get information out of you as you are trying to get information out of them.
All right. So they're passing around the wine, right?
Right.
All right.
And they're drinking from it. They actually drank from it before they passed it to you. Mm-hmm. And it's really good if any of you partake.
I'll have just a taste of it.
Yeah, it's some of the best you've had since you've come to Britain.
I'll have two tastes of it.
So they ask, so what brings you north? North along this road, are you your cart seems rather small for traders on this long and lonely road. You're heading all the way to the first wall then in Lugavalium, which is literally probably about 4 days north along this road. But it's the only thing on this road.
No, not quite that far.
Then you have friends or kin along the road somewhere.
No, we have actually been hired. There is a old trophy hunter that is preparing his last hurrah, and he sent us ahead in order to scare out any potential hunts that he could go on. The one last head to hang above the fireplace.
Well, he'll be sadly disappointed. There was once a great boar who dwelt within these woods, we were told. But that great beast was slain weeks ago. Other hunters are in the area looking for others of his kind, but from what we heard tell, that great beast was a prince among boar. It will be quite a long time before a beast as magnificent as that will ever grace these woods again.
That is a shame. Truth be
and
told,
he says,
though, he
and he
isn't
says,
all
I
that
will
good, so.
pour out a swallow for the great beast of the North Woods. And as he pours it out, he catches it in his hands and just slurps it up. And she says, and I will pour one out as well. And she does, into her mouth. And they both laugh. Surely you've heard tales of the great boar of the north.
I wish I had before this, or else I would have made haste.
If I was not so thirsty and tired from playing, we would tell you the story of the great boar of the north. We're actually here to gather as much details as we can. Hearing that the great beast has been slain, we wish to add a new chapter to its great tale to find out anything we can about how it met its demise so that we could add it to our performance. We heard tale that a hunter had killed it and then took some of its body south. Would you know anything about that? Judging by your clothes and your accents, you seem from the south. And the woman says, very far south, across the Oceania Britannicus in the east for most of you, I would say. And they both laugh.
Indeed, your dance brought fond memories of home.
No, I have not heard of any hunters coming up around this way. Do tell more.
Oscar, can I do an insight on them to see if they're totally realizing we're full of shit?
Yes, because I just rolled their insight on Doreena saying, who's dressed as a hunter, saying she doesn't know anything about hunters.
Yes. 43 out of something much higher than 43.
They've picked up that she lied. They are pumping you for information.
My insight's not that high, so I'm just kind of like drinking and sitting back and.
How are they reacting to us just feeding them lies?
They don't. They've got a really good. They have the poker face of professional actors.
Fuck.
I'm just gonna take some ration out and start eating it.
Okay.
You're not gonna enjoy them.
No, thank you.
Okay. They said we've got extra bread.
I'm good. Thank you.
I'll take hers. That's
Okay.
If you don't mind. I mean,
they don't. As long as you have something to contribute, they say it is their way. They are followers of the Epicurean way. So eat, drink, be merry, avoid that which makes you unhappy, embrace that which makes you happy. They said it is a philosophy that that appeals to both of our natures and one we live by. So if we choose to greet you as friends, because it is better to greet than to oppose you as enemies. So you are welcome at our camp. You are welcome to share wine with us until you prove yourself otherwise.
How do you all travel so well on these roads? Some of these roads aren't so safe for you there.
He says, well, it is a mix of things. And he says, I am... in these parts, people tend to be more traditional because of my dress and my training. It delivers an air of certain status, and that status is very well respected in the North. Those of my kind would never have been harmed, even on the battlefield. It would be a taboo to spill our blood. And many of the Northerners still respect those traditions. And Philomena says, if you believe that, I have a swamp to sell you in Ravenna. And she says, I believe that, he says, and take this with a grain of salt, that we are blessed by the gods. We put our faith in Venus, and the goddess protects us. We have never come to serious harm since embracing her fully.
Can I roll? Just, I don't believe the shit that they're saying.
Insight.
Yeah, insight, please and thank you.
Okay.
I'm also gonna roll too, but not for that.
Yeah, we need some scholarship on this shit, whatever they're saying.
All right, Doreena, Macrion, did you roll successfully on that last statement?
A 21 out of 20, so I'm going to spend 1 luck point on that.
Okay, Macrion.
I rolled on spot hidden to see if they have any jewelry or charms or anything to indicate that they do follow Venus.
There's stuff on both of them.
Okay.
Other gods as well. They are, not monotheists.
Yeah.
Very few. Well, some people are, but not them.
Me?
And Doreena, Malachi, did you make it as well?
No, I'm still.
You're a
haven't done
monotheist.
anything yet. Yeah, I'm a monotheist. Yes.
Okay.
Duly noted.
Of all the things.
All right, Doreena, you spend the 1 luck point, and believe it or not, they are both. The lie detector determined the lie detector test determined they are telling the truth. They both believe, because of his status as a bard and their faith in their god, that they are protected, and they're completely honest in saying that because of this faith and that no harm has come to them in quite some time as they travel along the roads.
Interesting.
No small gift to be protected by the gods.
He says, if we spread joy, joy comes back to us. And not being accosted by robbers or injured by beasts is quite joyful to us.
Robbers probably would think that you don't have much to offer in the way of coins, I would imagine.
You would be surprised. We do have good seasons.
And good wine. He holds up his glass.
A gift, part of our payment. Those who cannot pay with coins often pay with goods. And we are happy to accept whatever people would give us.
Indeed, as you'd end up just taking the coin and turning it into good anyway, why not just cut out the middle process?
He says that's one of the reasons we perform for large audiences and small farms. He says perhaps a small farm won't be able to give us a gold coin, but they will be able to give us an old hen or a dozen eggs or a side of bacon, which we would greatly, happily accept. And she says, and remember that Applejack whiskey we got last year? Says that we need to hit them in the fall again. And they both laugh.
The carefree lifestyle. I envy it.
He says, they say, so we're sorry that it seems that your mission will be ending in failure, since there is no great hunting trophy in these woods any longer.
Oh, he is not that great of a hunter anyway, so we were not quite searching out for such a large prize.
What did you know of the large boar anyway?
It's a common tale in these parts. And the gentleman, Jago, says, it's a story that's been passed down for generations. The beast has been legendary. He says, and it's my job to know all the stories of all the people I encounter.
Well, the only topic of conversation in town was you were passing through in the tales that you told.
He says, I knew we picked the right story for that lot. She says, a bit racy. I would have never performed it with you here, Doreena.
Understood.
But it was a big hit with the soldiers.
But so there is no more boar, no more of this mythic boar whatsoever?
That's what we've come to understand. We've been camping nearby, hoping to see sign of it, hoping beyond hope that the rumors were wrong. But from what we've surmised, the rumors are correct. The great boar is no more.
Have you, by the way, a friend of ours from the south came up this way some time ago, a woman who was trying to help with this mission too. Bronwin was her name. Did you ever encounter somebody like that on the way?
A woman traveling alone from the south, you say?
Yes.
They glance at one another. And they say, no, we've not heard of a traveler from the south before we saw you.
05 on insight.
This is information they didn't have.
Damn. Okay. Well,
They're actually telling the truth and are quite interested. Was she going into the forest? Are you perhaps following her lead, working for the same employer?
We actually don't know where she's gone. She was a friend of an old employer of ours and disappeared up this way.
It's a pity. These roads can be quite dangerous, especially in the hills and along the woods, for those who don't know their way. Well, we hope that she's safe if you'd find her.
as do we.
What do you mean, dangerous if they don't know their way?
They say that the road goes through very hilly country, and a woman traveling her alone on, would have a hard time of it. Plus, there are bandits along these roads, especially this one. It goes for many, many days without a town or a village.
Okay.
But the bandits really don't trouble you?
We've been blessed. Those who do trouble us, we perform and play for them, and they usually think better of harming us.
One of the leads that we had to try to come up to these woods was that there was a family of tanners near the woods. Do you know the tanners?
We've never performed for them, but we know that they're there. They tend to keep to themselves, and part of our success is knowing who to play for and who not to.
Would they not enjoy a performance such as what we saw tonight?
We don't believe that they would. From what we've heard tell of them, they tend to be quite surly, and we don't try and push our company on anyone. It's the Epicurean way.
A surly lot. He looks over at Herminius. Someone you could probably get along with, no?
Well, if you seek out the tanners, you miss the path. It's just down the road. It'd be better if you wait till morning. You don't want to miss it in the dark.
But wait, but you said you knew tales of the boar. What do you... I heard a funny tale in a town a few nights ago that the boar was there almost to protect people from things that lay inside the woods.
You must have been speaking to someone older. Those are the oldest stories, that the boar was some sort of a guardian. And then there are stories, equal number of stories that is some kind of a demon. He says, in my trade, you learn that none of the stories are true, and all of them are. You simply need to change your perspective. One tribe's goddess is another tribe's devil.
So which tribe is most likely to get us killed?
All of them, if you don't know your way around them, especially this far north. But you have a child of the Isle with you, so hopefully she'll be able to steer you right. And they nod to Doreena.
I nod back.
And Macrion sort of looks around because we've clearly missed the path.
They don't need to know that.
That's why he doesn't say anything.
So the woman Philomela gives a yawn and puts a hand on her companion's shoulder, and he says, and he goes, and that is my partner's way of saying that it is time for a beauty rest, and a beauty such as she deserves all the sleep she can get. So, if you wish to make camp with us, you are welcome. But I am going to we're going to retire until morning.
Macrion stands and tries to mutter out in Brythonic a thank you for their hospitality.
He says, "Roll it."
I got 100. He's like, "You motherfuckers, let us stay here." Shit.
I shoot him the dirtiest look. I was just shut him up real quick.
The Jago just starts laughing, and he comes over and just embraces you, and says, he goes and passes you back the jug, and he says, "You've earned another swallow for making me laugh. That was, without a doubt, the worst Brythonic I've ever heard a Roman try and speak."
And he kind of gets red like a little bit, and he's like, "Was that not?" And he's trying to like say it over again in his head. And he's like, "No, that's," and he's just kind of like muttering in Brythonic. But
he says, "Stop! You're hurting my ears. Just take a swallow so I can go to bed."
He pushes the jug at me, and I take a swallow and kind of like walk off a little bit.
So they retire to the large covered wagon. It's got like a little step. I'm kind of envisioning a traveler. I forget what they're called. I think bardos.
I was thinking like a Romani style wagon.
Yeah,
just with like all the bright colors and all that stuff. Yeah.
Right.
So when they go up, Macrion wanders over to Doreena and he's like, he'll try to say it again. Isn't it like this? And then probably like say it wrong again and be like, no, but I thought it was, he's like using his hands, like he's using his fingers, like he's counting, but he's like trying to parse the words out.
I just put my hand on his shoulder and just tap it. Just good try. Good try.
We've been here long enough. You'd think that I would. It's fine. It's fine.
If it makes you feel any better, I'm still not fluent in it either.
He kind of looks askance at you, and he's, but you're from here, aren't you?
Yes, but I also speak another language.
Yeah. Oh, what else do you speak?
Let me find out. Because Brythonic is only is considered my other language. Let me see. Where would I find that?
It's the second column, about halfway down his language.
Oh no! So I have for language other. I have Brythonic at 35, and then Germanian at own. Yeah, just says.
So you're a native Latin speaker, believe it or not.
There we go! Yay!
So he starts speaking to you in Greek, and then you don't respond, and he starts Coptic, and then I'm assuming you don't
respond. I'd understand that.
I don't have that.
All right, so you're whiling away the evening. So what's your next move, ladies and gentlemen?
If we camp, I don't want to camp. I whisper it. If we're staying here, I just don't want to be that close. I'd rather be a little further away.
Macrion looks at the fire and just kind of like shrugs. So, if we stay here, we could take watches. If you prefer to sleep in the wagon, that's fine as well. I don't mind staying out for a little while.
And we clearly are better armed than they are.
I'll take the first watch. I whisper, you guys obviously heard, but that they are unarmed, as far as I can tell.
That concerns me.
A little bit concerning, but I don't know if sleeping farther away from them is going to help us very much.
Get him a little bit.
I think
Right there, right there.
maybe being closer to them might almost be better.
Okay.
And some safety in numbers. I don't perceive them as a threat, at least not in a way that we're going to have to worry about tonight.
Okay. So, who's on the morning watch?
Not me.
I guess I will be.
All right. Roll your spot hidden.
Oh, dear Lord.
Actually, roll your listen.
Oh, just all the more scary things. Yeah. I don't hear shit. 93.
I'm going to roll my
Okay.
listen too.
You're asleep.
Yeah, but I wake up easy.
Doreena, at some time during your watch, you may have nodded off or just kind of like stared out at the sunrise, because when you turn around, they're gone. They've broken camp and managed to slip away in the pre-dawn.
I just mutter. I knew it couldn't fucking.
And then over the smoldering fire on a couple of rocks are like 2 or 3 biscuits that they've left.
Aw.
Holy shit.
And you're like, they fucking had an ox cart and they just...
Yeah, I'm very confused how they can get away that quickly.
Slippers on the ox.
Well, you did roll a 93, so I'm assuming that you fell asleep.
No, but they didn't
Yeah,
wake
but
us
still,
all up breaking camp.
even if I knock it off for like 2 or 3 minutes, it takes a while.
Yeah.
But they're probably used to doing it too, right? Like, I mean, this is probably a nightly occurrence, or
Yeah. They,
a couple of times a week.
this
They're
is
sleeping
their
out.
trade. They travel and they perform.
Sure, they probably have it down to a science.
All right, so it is the next morning.
So do we want to go to the Tanners because they're a little further down on the trail?
Yeah. How
Well, now
far-
you're backtracking.
Hmm.
Oh, joy.
Okay, you can follow that path. All right, you make a tracking roll.
Oh, I got a 9.
I got
You
a
find the
12.
path easily, and when you find the path, you see lots of tracks on it.
Anything look unfamiliar?
With a 9, that's a lot. You can see that that there are tracks of old tracks, maybe a week old, of a few figures. I mean, 9 is really good. Is 9 an extreme success for you?
Extreme would be
1/5.
1/5. Yes.
All right, so because of your extreme success, you see a large group of people, 5 in all,
Mhm.
Following this path, and then you find signs of a battle.
A battle. And is it strictly human?
The tracks seem to shift. It seems that these people fought a boar,
Multiple people
and there
fighting.
may have been some wolves.
And
It becomes very jumbled, but you do see places where 2 of the group have fallen, and both sides have withdrawn. The boar went off north, and the hunters went south.
and this is only a week old.
Yeah, but the hunters went south, carrying 2 of their number.
I try to break it down and explain it to everyone.
Yeah, you do a Lord Humperdinck thing where you're like pantomiming the whole battle.
Yeah.
And even though it's a week old, you do find like specks of dried blood underneath leaves and stuff. Like it's an extreme roll. It's an extreme success on somebody who's a huntress. So, you missed the trail yesterday, but it's like a satellite photo.
They ate my ration.
Get a good night's sleep.
Yeah, I slept through my wine.
It was that biscuit they left us this morning.
All right.
So Doreena, that jibes with what Malachi found out last night, that the hunters had come out and buried two of their own. It must be the same group, no?
Yep.
Yeah. But if they were, who were they fighting? What beast were they fighting? Because it wasn't the beast that was brought to us.
We can only assume that perhaps it is Bronwin then, unless there are other such creatures in the woods.
Or other beasts.
Well, there was werewolves too. So we were told that most likely animals would be coming to retake the land. Maybe the travelers are a part of that.
Perhaps a power struggle.
Is that normal?
Perhaps simply just caught up in the mix.
That as well.
Do the tracks indicate you speak of werewolves, some transformation along the trail? Do they begin as human and end as something else?
Ask would I have noticed any of that?
You're muted, Oscar.
You're muted.
Sorry, you don't get that much. But it's possible, but you couldn't say for sure.
Okay. Well, it doesn't necessarily mean we shouldn't move forward, and possibly the Tanners might more know about this.
A thought occurs to me. If the Tanners are a surly bunch and they keep to themselves by all indications, then perhaps the Tanners themselves may be one of these creatures, protectors of the forests and all.
A whole family of them.
We must tread carefully then and show that we indeed come in peace and wish to help whatever this situation is, and not cause any undue problems for anyone. Well, these creatures may not be normal, kind of like waves his hands like what's normal. If they are providing a function that keeps other people safe, then perhaps they can be an ally of sorts in the business that we attend to. A contact, even.
That may be a possibility, but the only way we're going to know is when we approach them, just to kind of go cautiously and hope for the best. I'm not sure. I don't think I've ever worked with Tanners before, have I?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Only to, no, I don't, if you bought leather armor, maybe, but.
Yeah.
What did we learn about the hunters that fought here? Where did they go?
South.
They kept going south.
Yeah.
Which is where the guard saw them. South of just on the southern end of the forest, out of the forest, burying their two fallen compatriots.
and then they kept going south.
Well, if they didn't stay and watch to see where they went, and they probably didn't, then we don't know. But from this location, they went south, which jibes with the story that you were told.
Yeah.
Meta question. What sort of like werewolf mythology are we using? Like unibrow, long ring finger, like visible. Like Macrion would be looking for your typical Hollywood werewolf indicators.
You don't have enough experience with werewolves to really know, and Doreena has enough experience with werewolves that she's fought more than one, and no two of them are exactly alike.
Okay, so there's not a certain thing. Okay, I'm just 60 occult. I'm just trying to parse out what would be like sort of common, quote unquote, common knowledge for like werewolf stuff.
Right.
Throw silver at it, see what happens.
Perhaps we don't want to lead with that. I don't think.
Offer a silver platter.
All right, so you have two paths, guys. North and south.
To the Tanners, I guess. Which would
You
I put my armor on before we continue.
okay. That's not a bad idea. Does everyone do that?
Already have mine on.
Oh yeah.
And Herminius is vigorously nodding. So okay, so you travel for maybe an hour, and then you along this little trail, and you come to a clearing. You smell it before you see it because tanner camps are very smelly. There are a lot of chemicals involved in tanning of leather. And you see a nice stone-built thatch roof house, a side shop, an outhouse, some livestock, little homestead shop area. Lots of drying hides. And you see a group of 7 figures at the edge of the property. And they are all kind of gathered in a semicircle. And most of them are children. You see 3 young girls. The oldest is probably 10. 3 boys. 2 of them are maybe like 8 and 5. The oldest looks to be maybe 15. So just a very young man, not quite shavable age, teen. And a woman, and they all have a very similar look. Like they're all very similar types of hair, and you could tell that they are siblings. The woman with them is unlike them in every way. She is, dirty, wearing ragged clothes, and trying to console them. And she matches the description of Bronwin.
Is there any moved earth? Something that looks like a recent burial, by any chance?
Unfortunately, yes. There's 2 piles of stones. I've actually 2 recent graves. One very recent, like a few days ago, or maybe even yesterday.
So I got a hard success on spot hidden. For anything else?
Nothing else, really.
Yeah, but there is Bronwin.
Can we hear what she's saying?
No, some of the kids are crying.
Okay. Do any of the children look like they're in danger, like they're scared, or
They all look scared.
Of her?
No.
Oh, okay.
She's trying to console them.
Okay. I'm just gonna slowly start walking up and see what happens.
Okay, when you slowly start walking up and they hear you, the oldest boy and The woman you guess is Bronwin, you don't know for sure, comes rushing forward. All the children rush behind them, and the boy says, this is our homestead. You don't belong here. Leave now.
We're here for Bronwin.
The woman looks very confused, and all of the kids look very confused. And she goes, how do you know me?
I know that there are people looking for you, people who care for you, people who want to know that you're safe. Those people have sent us to see if you're okay.
Well, she sighs and just shakes her head, and she says, you've traveled a long way.
They care a lot.
Well, they shouldn't. You can go back and tell them I'm fine.
You know who you left. You know they're not going to be okay with that answer.
There's nothing for me there now. My life is here. These children need someone to look after them. I'm all they have now.
May I ask why is that?
Because I just helped them bury their mother. And a couple of the young ones start crying.
What brought you here?
I was looking for answers.
What did you find?
Purpose.
And that is? Please understand, they want you back. They want you to come home.
She says, well, I can't believe anything you say. I can smell the silver on you. Have you come to kill me? Have you come to kill us?
No. We were very, very, very hopeful to bring you back. The only reason why we are carrying what we're carrying is because we know a lot about this. We'd rather come prepared.
She says, well, then if you've come prepared and you know a lot about this, you know I can't go back.
That I don't know.
If I caught this illness from handling meat in a kitchen, who could I spread it to on accident?
You wear gloves.
That's that's not something I'm willing to risk. Here, there's no chance of that. There's no harm to be done.
Yep, I'm working on it.
I don't want to ask directly why that is, but pretty much safe to say that they're most likely similar to her, correct?
The boy snaps and starts speaking in Brythonic. He goes, they need to leave. They need to leave now. We have enough trouble as it is.
I answer back in the best Brythonic I can. If I have to roll, I will. We're here to help. Do I need to roll for that?
I got to know one so I understood him.
He says in Brythonic, every stranger we've met in the last 3 months has hurt us. What makes you any different? I've lost both of my parents to outsiders.
I speak in Latin because I'm not going to be able to say this in Brythonic. If I wanted to hurt you, I would have done it already. If you know the people that have come by have come to hurt you, don't you think I would have done that by now if I wanted to? You see that I'm prepared, but I'm not doing anything.
He says, I'm not afraid of you. He says, I will defend my family if I have to. Just don't make me do that. You should leave. And Bronwin puts her hand on Carvillis. These people were sent by my family. And he goes, it's people like them who've taken away my family. She's a hunter, like the one who killed my father.
Connection made. Um, how tall is he?
He's 15. He's probably a little taller than you.
All right, so going
You can
down on
tell,
one knee
and probably
isn't help.
by the time he's 19, he's going to be massive. So he's a massive teen, but he hasn't filled out yet.
Okay. Fuck it. I'm going to just go down on one knee. And I'm going to say this. Yes, I am like him. I am like the man that killed your father. But that man did not know who or what your father was. That man did not understand what was going on and what's happening. He was sent to do a job, to find an animal to bring back. Our job is not to find an animal to kill and bring back. Our job here is to see if she is okay, and if we could, bring her back. We made no promises. We said we would try our best. And I just say, kneeled.
Okay, one of the girls comes forward and says, maybe we should just leave. And one of the middle boys says, we can't leave. We can't leave the house. He says it would, it's everything Mom and Dad ever taught us. We're the caretakers. It falls to us now. And then the youngest girl says, it was never supposed to be our job, not now, not for many, many years. And then Carvilla says, well, it's our job now.
May we talk more about this? Will you allow us to speak with you further? Not in this setting, not with this amount of feeling and passion.
The oldest girl says, Carvillus, we'll do whatever you decide. You're the oldest now. Let me put the younger ones to their chores and get them working, get some food started. We'll support whatever decision you make. So the oldest girl kind of takes the rest of the family and sets them to their morning chores. And they're just, there's visible sadness weighting them down. And Bronwin comes over and says, I can't leave these children. She says, I don't know how well I can help them defend this place, but I know it must be defended. They've confided in me.
All right, she's weak. I got the other one down.
They're guardians. Their family's been guardians for generations.
May I ask what happened to their parents?
Oh, fuck!
A hunter came a few weeks ago. Carvillus answers. My father met him, tried to scare him off. He was not easily scared off, apparently. And my father never came back, which was... We're not supposed to be harmed by normal weapons. So the fact that my father didn't come back was very surprising. He'd always come back. That man left. He did not return, but others came after. And these were not men. These were evil creatures who had been trying to take our lands for many years. My father had fought with them and scared them off and driven them off many times, but without him guarding us, that fell to my mother. And my mother was every bit as fierce as my father, but when she met them, she returned with horrible, horrible wounds. And she'd always recovered before. But because these were not men and these wounds were made by others like us, they didn't heal. And she succumbed in the night to her injuries.
I'm sorry for your loss.
He nods and he says, well, I believe you're telling the truth there, so thank you. But now it must fall to me. I know that that's what my father would have wanted. We can't allow the seal to fall into anyone else's hands.
May I speak with my party for a moment?
Okay. They nod, and he goes off to deal with his siblings, and Bronwin just kind of stays there.
That's what I'm saying, dude. I don't see him.
So Bronwin's still with us.
Unless you want her to step away.
I explain we're here for you. We're here to bring you back. It's one thing if you can't control yourself and you are genuinely concerned for the people that love you and the people you love, or there's an obligation.
Is there some way to turn that off, Regina? Because this is...
Yeah, hold on. I'm going to speak to my husband. Give me one
Sure.
moment. Sorry.
Told you it wasn't me.
I didn't know where it was coming from, and she didn't say that it was her, so...
Sorry about that.
Thank you.
No, not a problem. Sorry. Anyways, it's one thing if you feel obliged to be here. There's another thing that you don't feel safe coming back to them, and we need to know what that really is.
She says, I don't feel safe being around them. I don't feel safe being around regular people. I lost my temper and I nearly killed a man. She says, and if he had even shed a drop of my blood, or I could have infected him with what I have now.
You sure did mess him up pretty good.
I didn't mean to. This illness, it comes with a terrible anger. I've only felt calm when I was away from people. These children, they don't affect me that way. I feel a kinship to them. I suppose it's the nature of the illness. And to this place, I can feel it in my blood and in my bones. There's something sacred drawing me here. It would be hard to leave. I'm supposed to be here. We're supposed to protect the seal.
Have the children taken you to see the seal? Is it still in place?
It is.
Do you have a sense? Protect in what way? Protect what's inside or protect those outside of?
Keep outsiders away from it. Where I know that I've been told by Corvillis that we are the sacred guardians of a seal that holds back a great evil.
Okay.
That once the seal was moved and the wall beyond damaged, and that allowed a great evil to re-enter our world in a small way. But since then, that evil has wanted to enlarge that hole, to manifest even more, to come forth into our world in a greater sense. That's why the seal is now. That's why we're now the guardians of the seal. The seal is vulnerable.
What can we do to help? If you cannot return, that is what the situation must be. But what can we do to help you here? If the children's parents were not able to prevent these incursions, and if your disease is new and yet uncontrollable, how can you protect these children from those who may intrude from without?
Well, I will need to defend it as their father and their mother did, and when the boy is old enough, he can become its primary defender, and I can just finish raising the children.
Ah, yes, but that will not be for many moons.
No,
What-
that's why my place is here. When they're older, in a few years, maybe I can return to the girls in the household for a short visit. Or maybe they can come north and meet me in Deva for a few days.
Was the greater beast here one of this family, of this kindred?
The great boar of the northern woods,
Yeah.
that was their father.
Oof. Well, that's a bummer.
But it doesn't matter because we're trying. There are forces trying to push us off this land, and we won't leave. So that means we either have to. The Romans have a saying: victory or death. We'll either defeat them or die trying.
Are there wards, perhaps spells that can be woven to protect this place?
They have been binding us guardians to it.
Yes, but wards to protect the place, and he kind of like waves his hands around to like the encompassing.
These are children, and I'm a kitchen maid. We don't know magic.
Is the greater threat now from outside of the woods, or is it from what lies within that tomb?
What is sealed is sealed. Unless the sealed is disturbed, it's harmless.
So there's nothing changed there.
Thank goodness, no.
Okay.
But that could change very quickly should we lose control of the house.
Of the house or the woods, or both?
The seal is under the house.
Oh. Well, guys, you all want a house in the country, right? I mean, that's what everyone wants, right?
Okay, so it's 11 o'clock. I don't think we want to get into a big wereboar, possibly Battle of Five Armies kind of dispute. Because I didn't make two really interesting actress NPCs just to be, sidelined. So you may or may not be done with that pair. So let's just wrap this up and then we'll pause, if that's okay. Because any resolution is going to be very rushed.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
So she says, I will make a deal with you. If you help me get through this crisis, if you help me protect these children and protect their future and this seal from a great evil, I will write a letter. I will tell them that I was called north by my long-lost sister who was sick, and I had to come and take care of her children, and this is my place now, and that I will meet them in Deva in a year's time for a reunion, a brief reunion. I'm a freedwoman. I can come and go as I please.
How long would you need us for?
The hunters still need to be dealt with.
Oh, the hunters are the threat.
Yes, they are. They're the ones who killed the mother. After they heard the father was dead, the cowards.
What do you think the hunters want? Is it just territory?
We think that they're drawn to the seal as we are, but not as its guardians.
Hey.
There's something primal beyond the seal.
Okay, well, I guess we know what we need to do then, folks.
If the hunters, Malachi spoke to some of the legionary, and they had run into the hunters south of the woods. They were burying 2 of their own that had been slain.
2. Oh, thank goodness.
Yes, so 3 remain, and I would assume that they are probably still in the area.
Licking their wounds, no doubt, as we are.
Yes. He looks to the group for like consensus, but Macrion says we would be willing to stay to help see you through this current threat. It is the least that we can do.
I wonder if our player friends ever encountered the hunters on the road.
They did not say.
Given their ability to distract people for far too long, it might be a valuable asset to have.
Yes, but their lack of armaments might put them at a slight disadvantage.
I feel like I can trust them to handle their own, for whatever remarkable reason.
They were blessed by the gods, are they not?
The
That's what they
pagan
said.
gods.
I was wondering where that was going to come up.
I try not to do that, but
No, it's appropriate.
I try not to get judgy. I'm sorry.
Hold on.
But the Taurus, never mind. I'm sorry.
She says, if you agree to help me, then come inside and we'll explain it to everyone. They're terrified. They think that you've come to take that, you're here to take me away. For the last few days, I've been all they had.
Understood.
All right, so you go inside. I want to find a way to share a picture. I'm going to email you something, and then you can throw it up on the board.
All right. Let me pull up my email.
Okay. So she brings you inside, and the older girls have made lunch that everyone sits down to eat, and she explains that you've come to help, that you're going to help them get rid of the hunters, and that she's not going to leave, but after they help us, they're going to go home, tell the people who are looking for me that I'm fine, and I'm going to be staying. I'll be staying with you from now on, and they're very relieved about that. And he said, then the boy, what is his name again? 1 second.
Start with a C.
Carvilius says, well, if you're to defend the seal, you should see what it looks like.
All right, I will.
So when the meal is done, they move the large oaken table, and you realize that these children have like strength beyond like a full-grown man. And then they move the rug, and underneath you see an oval Celtic carved stone with this carved in the center of it.
Very cool. It is a knotwork boar sigil. So it's the outline of a boar with all like the knotwork, Celtic knotwork and stuff through it.
Covered in like the whole border is a circle of and if you roll occult, all of those sigils around it, the knotwork pattern around it is that of a defender. That to the Celts, the boar was a stalwart warrior defender It was the brick wall, the impassable force.
Right. Very cool seal, by the way.
Yeah, I found that online. I was like, oh, that is so awesome. I'm totally stealing that for the adventure.
Very cool.
All right, so now you know the full. Well, no, you don't. You know most of the breadth and scope of the adventure. You have finally tracked down Bronwin and realized why she came north. And everybody make a POW check.
Uh, 47 under 80. It's a regular success.
50 under 70.
48 is this a magic test? Because I have something that helps me with that.
No, this is not to resist a spell.
Okay.
74 out of 80.
So you all make the POW check.
Yeah.
You can all sense it, like when you pull it off there, it just radiates some kind of an energy. There's almost a hum going through the bottom of your spine when it's revealed. And now I need everybody to make a Cthulhu Mythos check.
Woohoo!
02 out of 13.
Oh, boom!
So you make
It
it.
is an extreme success.
Everybody else fails.
Yep.
Okay, Macrion. You look at it and you feel the power. And then something taps into you and you feel the power beyond it. You feel that whatever this is, it's the cork on an amphora waiting to pour out. You feel it just seeping through you like the warm water of a bathhouse, like just going through your muscles and into your bones and into your joints. You feel it like fine wine sitting in your belly, radiating like heat throughout your body. You feel your pulse start to quicken. Your fingertips tingle, your lips tingle. You know, your mind fills with the goat herder woman that you know back in Greece. And a voice sings in your mind 2 words: release me.
Oh, that's not good. He just like full body shivers.
I need you to make a sand check.
57 under.
And I get ready to club him.
86. So I'm good.
You did not fail?
Did not fail.
Okay, you have enough choice to back away from this and shut off that part of your mind that has found a way in.
Or
almost like forcing yourself to wake up from a bad dream. Like when you have that feeling when you're dreaming and you're like, this isn't real, I need to wake up. Or you can go the other way. You can lean in and see what it wants to say and open up that crack wider.
So like as he's feeling this thrum and whatever, like he's like slowly sort of like squatting down like closer to the floor, and then like when it says release me, he just like shivers and like jerkily like sort of stands up and takes a couple of stumbling steps backwards and like kind of looks panicky about the room.
So I guess you're choosing to cut this thing. You do not want to. You're closing this. I am.
Yeah. Did anyone else? Did anyone hear that?
And even though you passed, you lose 1 sand.
Yep.
And the children all, as they see you so affected, they very quickly cover it up.
Yeah, he kind of like leans against the wall, and like when it like shunk and like closes, he's like, "Thank you. I understand the burden that you bear." And then he goes outside. Like he's just like he walks outside.
And Carvelis looks over and it says, "There's great evil beyond this seal." And I think it calls to people. And they said, we even if it costs us our lives, we need to keep it from ever falling into the wrong hands. All right, I think that's a good spot.
So the whole thing about this being in the middle of the woods when it actually was just under the house of the Tanners is just like something that we had to learn the hard way, I guess.
It seemed kind of obvious.
I was thinking it was like deep in the woods, but of
Their
course
house is deep in the woods.
Okay. Fair enough,
I mean,
fair enough.
even after you found it's not that big of a woods, and you were walking through it for an hour or two.
I know. I mean, I thought somebody at some point had said that they were right on the outskirts of the forest, but I might have been wrong about that.
I might have recapped it that way, that they were like on the northern side of the woods or whatever.
I'm writing new material for this every week, so I don't even know what I said at
Anyway,
this point.
so
I may have contradicted myself at some point.
We have to kill 3 werewolves, and on our side is how many wereboars? 3 wereboars?
Well, maybe 2.
You really want, yeah. Everyone else is
15.
kids.
He'll fight, but he's still immature. He's still not.
And also, we probably, God, we don't want to.
All the others are like under 10. They're all children.
I don't really want to stay here forever, so we kind of don't want any of the boar family, the Tanner family, to get hurt. We have to somehow kill these werewolves while they're not werewolves, ideally.
Well, we all have silver now, or Herminius has got an enchanted dagger, so I mean we can hurt them regardless of their form. It would be easier to probably kill them while they're human, but they're still going to be super strong, even if they don't have like claws and stuff.
Yeah, 3 makes it a little bit easier, but I still feel like we need to bring in some allies.
Bronwin says that she'll fight beside you, and so does Carvilius.
Okay, that helps. That helps a good bit. I still feel like we can't risk them.
I feel we shouldn't undo
They should help. They should help, but I feel like even more numbers would be really good to have.
Well, so we could also do, I mean, if we want to get into some planning, Doreena has a shit ton of javelins, right? So we could dig pits and put the silver-tipped javelins in them, the silver-tipped crossbow.
I can see if Jimmy and Walter are available next session. I mean, you do have friends in Britannia.
I feel like we need to bring in some friends for this. This is, I mean, the stakes aren't just, losing a couple wereboars that are important. It's this portal falling to, maybe not now. Maybe these boars and us win now, but if there's only a couple of them, a year from now or 10 years from now. But
so John, you could handle one more person without this getting weird?
Correct.
Okay. Let me reach out to some industry people to see if you want to have a special guest star to join next session, and we'll see if we can buff out your party by 1. I'm not going to go to GB and Walter. They've had their moment.
Let's see what Mike Mason's doing or something.
He's actually part of this campaign. I played an adventure with him in Deva, so he has someone in the area.
He just emailed me today. I haven't written back to him yet, so that'd be a good way for me.
Why don't you reply and say, what are you doing on what is it? What are you doing Wednesday night, 9 p.m. EST on the 24th?
I'll do that.
And do you still have your character from Oscar's Cthulhu Invictus game?
I'll do it.
And I don't remember what he played, but wasn't that for your channel? Don't you have the files for that, John?
Was our campaign in Deva? Is that the one you're talking about?
The one with the I don't want to spoil it.
Death and Wolf's Clothing, right?
Yes.
The All-Star game that we did?
Yes.
Yeah, it's on there. I don't remember. I could actually pull it up right now.
Yeah, it was Mike Mason and
Glancy played.
Scott Glancy.
Oh,
so
nice. Oh,
we
Jesus,
can ask
I
Scott
didn't know
Glancy
that.
if he'd want to join us.
Oh, fuck yeah, that'd be awesome. I'd like
Who the hell was the
Jeff
other one?
Muller. Jeff Muller was playing his lawyer.
Wow. Jesus.
And
It was an
the-
all-star game, dude. It was awesome. We had somebody
you're
from
not
the
kidding.
we had an HPLHS guy,
yeah.
Wow.
Sean Braney.
Sean
Oh,
Branny.
you're fucking kidding me. Holy
Dude,
we
it was
had-
awesome.
You might as well okay, and Sandy Peterson showed up for a while.
Well, and me, right? So
I
like,
was
it
so
kind of
honored
peters out.
to have like it was a real surreal night.
too.
That's how
I-
I would feel like.
I ran away.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
that was
it was a big that was some. So any one of those guys who are available, we can drop them in because they're actually in the area.
I'll write Mike and see what he says.
All right, we'll see. It's still we got 2 weeks to figure it out.
Yeah. I know for Mike, like right now, because they're like 7 or 8 hours ahead, it's like 2 in the morning.
Yeah,
So
it would be really hard for Mike,
It seems
Well,
unlikely, but
but it would be a lot easier for.
for Scott, because it's
Scott.
Pacific time, so it's
I'm
And I
Really?
think Mike might have been playing Malachi too, so that'd be really weird.
Oh, that'd be.
I think somebody was playing Malachi. I'm
That could
not
get
sure.
really awkward storytelling.
It would be like one of those video games where like the
Which
blue
one's the
Mario is
real
fighting the
Malachi?
red Mario.
he played Manad the Mighty.
Oh, he played the gladiator.
Oh,
Yeah.
perfect. That's what we fucking.
He's not going to
need.
stay up till 2 in the morning to play with
No,
us.
but okay, it's COVID era. Come on. I think here's my prediction.
You can ask. We can
Here's my
ask.
prediction. Mike Mason has probably stayed up till 2 in the morning playing Call of Cthulhu. I'm just
Ask
putting that
him.
out there.
Ask him.
I'm just
'cause
putting that out there.
I'm telling you, you guys could use Menad the Mighty.
But since I'm a gambling person, I am happy to put some money on the table for that bet.
All right.
I'll ask
So
him.
we lose nothing by asking him.
We could also we could start. I could start at like 8 or something like that, or whatever, just to make it a little bit easier for him.
Is that okay with everyone? Can everybody make it an hour earlier to make it easier for Mike Mason to join us next time?
I could try to make a special occasion.
Yeah,
By
it
the
would
way,
be a
yeah,
special
It
occasion.
actually would
Yeah.
be a little bit later. He's, I think, probably 5 hours later than us. So it's, oh, Jesus Christ, it's now way later than 2 in the morning. It's,
Yeah, because our buddy
Let's
Kevin.
not worry. Let's ask him and
I'll ask
see.
him, I'll ask him.
And if not, we'll settle for a Scott Glancy. I mean, for fuck's sake, we've got a huge group of great,
That's great.
amazing.
Yeah, good job,
And
good
Scott
job.
was playing a tax collector, so
Yeah, that's just what we need. When we're going
I don't know how good he'd be in the werewolf fight. But
Well, that's what brought down Capone.
Capone,
They'll be like, you haven't filed the proper paperwork for your.
But honestly, you guys there's some strength behind you. If you don't roll like crap, you should be okay. But I totally support you guys bringing in a 5th player if you need it. And you might need it, so who knows?
Plus, I still actually would like to reach out to the players. I feel like that they're still potential allies of ours.
I mean, they bounced, right? So like we have no idea where all we know is that they were theoretically heading further north.
But they bounced without, and if they could bounce their whole camp without us noticing at all, like, and it's not just Doreena. I mean, Doreena, that's fine. Like, you just happen to be in deep REM sleep. But like, none of us woke up while they were
98, dude. It was a 98.
93.
93. Sorry.
They left, and none of us woke up with knives in our throats or our pockets turned out or anything like that. Is my point. Like, I don't think that they're a threat. I think they're potentially allies. Is the impression I get.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, they didn't do anything to hurt us, right? Like we shared a camp together, and that should mean something, right? Like you have the hospitality issue, I guess. So
the other thing, they were so curious about what's going on. I mean, they're obviously, I don't know, intel gatherers or whatever, but yet somehow they missed that Bronwin had come up here. I mean, I don't know what to make of that exactly, but they may see some value in being involved for other reasons, you know? I mean, they're very odd birds, that's for sure. Oh, yeah, Doreena, good point. Doreena says her weaponsmith contact.
Yeah. So
and his apprentice or whatever it was, the guy that was in the shop too, might be somebody.
I think he was a kid though. I thought he was pretty young.
He was younger.
He is a few days south too. Yeah.
All right. Well, we've got a couple of weeks to figure it out.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we will have a big brutal conclusion to this short adventure that turned into what a 4 episode epic.
Well, that when you meander and you talk and you role play and you ask questions and you do all the stuff, like it's.
No, that's what's fun about a campaign.
Yeah.
That you're not fighting the clock and trying to get all of the goals done immediately. That you can relax and play your character and just have fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
And in my case, if my books are going to be 2 days late, I can write a whole nother story element, which is probably a big part of the reason why, this is taking another week. But
yeah. Well, I tell you what, if we get Glancy, this might stretch out to be 3 more episodes.
That guy Shatner's it up, man. I got to tell you. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to play with William Shatner? Scott Clancy's not far off the mark. He will chew up the scenery like nobody's business.
He was good when we played. He was pretty on point. He wasn't running, right? So he didn't pontificate quite as much.
Right. All right, guys, it's creeping up at 11:30. Poor Doreena's yawning and making me yawn. So I think we better call it.
All right. Great night, folks.
Yep.
Thanks.
All right, I'm glad this went well. I'm glad everybody had a good time.
Yep.
Always. Yep.
Good
Thank you for running. Thanks everybody for playing.
No problem. You gonna do your sign out stuff?
Yeah, I'll do all sign out stuff. Yep. All right. I want to thank everybody for checking this out. We have coffee for sale. It's the Legendary Brew. There's a link in the show notes, or you can go to tinyurl.com/legendary brew. Birds of a Feather Coffee is a small batch craft coffee roaster. The Legendary Brew is an easy drinking medium roast. I actually just put in an order yesterday. I am rocketing through the 2 bags that I purchased recently. It's a really nice, flavorful coffee. They also have a dark roast, a light roast, and a decaf. Those are also fantastic as well. But a little bit of money from the Legendary Brew comes back to the show, helps keep the lights on, that kind of stuff. Shipping is always free, and if you use the code LEGENDS10, you get 10% off your order. We have a Patreon up as well. If you want to throw a couple of sesterces our way, we would appreciate that as well. The backlog is huge, so there's early releases, there's outtakes, post shows, and all that kind of stuff on there if you're interested in any of that. Also, head over to Golden Goblin Press. There was just a shipment of books that came in for restock. Oscar, what'd you get at the Goblin Lair?
We had a bunch of books in our restock. And then we got a distributor deal in Scandinavia and literally sent out like 6 boxes of books. So I have some floor space now, but I'm waiting for 21 boxes of books to arrive. By the time this drops, God, we may have like 9 new
Maybe
books
2
out.
years from now.
But no, we've got good supplies of Cthulhu Invictus. We're about to have our Lovecraft. Well, I can't call it that anymore because of copyright stuff. Our Eldritch New England holiday campaign is about to drop. I'm expecting that in a couple of days, and we'll be mailing that out. But yeah, it's been a very exciting time. But who knows? By the time this drops, you may be able to order a copy of Cthulhu Britannia. Yeah, the Guide to Britannia.
Yeah.
Which probably by this time, God willing, by this time next week will be the only outstanding Kickstarter, and on the full speed ahead to finally getting finished. But
cool. eagerly anticipating the release of that to go with my Cthulhu Invictus book.
Well, at this point, you guys have played Cthulhu Invictus in Britannia more than any other players on Earth, I'm sure.
Cool. I think that's all the stuff we've got going on. You've got a Kickstarter coming up, so anybody who's watching this in the relative, now-ish time.
Yeah, that's going to be March 20th. It'll be Terrors of Octobernomicon. It's going to be all new or new-ish authors who are writing either their first or second published scenario with a major publisher. And they're going to be writing adventures, brand new adventures about brand new creatures from Shoggoth.net's collection of Octobernomicon, which is 31 days of new monsters every October, going back for many, many years. So they all got to pick one monster they liked, write a scenario about it, and we're going to be mentoring them to punch it up as best we can, bring their skills forward. And it's basically, I want to say, it's like our student showcase, but, they're all in their 30s, so, but then again, their mentors are all pushing 50 or on the bad side of 50. So, and I'm one of the mentors, and Matt Wiseman, another Emmy award-winning author, is the other mentor. So they're all getting the crash course in writing scenarios from two people who've been doing it for quite some time. Very
cool. And we've got, hopefully, fingers crossed, we've got Necronomicon coming up soon-ish by the time this releases.
Every tentacle crossed and nodded.
Yeah. So that hopefully is coming up. So by the time this comes out, it'll have been a long memory. And Jesse's got his own podcast as well. I don't think we ever mentioned this, maybe once in a blue moon, but you could check out Monster Hunt. You guys release every other week, right?
Correct. Yes.
We've been doing this for months, and this is the first I've heard of it.
I am also on that podcast as well. So if you're tired of this, maybe don't listen to that. But
I literally know that you never brush your hair for these things, but I didn't know you had another podcast. You are horrible at self-marketing, sir.
I am. Yeah.
I blame myself.
I'd mention my Star Frontiers YouTube channel if I could get away with it, but I'm not going to.
You just did.
I'm not mixing my milk in my orange juice. But that would be Citizens of the Frontier on YouTube.
I am subscribed.
I'm hoping to break 100 sooner or later, but it's going okay. That's my other Wednesday night.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool.
It's my palate cleanser from Call of Cthulhu.
There you go. Some old school OSR gaming.
OSR, yeah. we call it updated old school. So it's like old school game, but every NPC is not the villain. It's like better writing. It's like it's 2000. It's like 2020 level writing in a 1984 game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going well.
Cool. All right. I want to thank everybody again for checking it out. Ratings, reviews on iTunes or whatever your podcatcher of choice is also extremely helpful for us. Just bumps us up in the algorithms, gets eyes and or ears on the podcast, and that helps us out a ton. And that's free. You can do that and do it for all the shows that you love, because God, that little bit of a review goes a long way for everybody. So thanks again, and we'll catch you next time.
Peace.